Hi, welcome to our new video podcast series, Elevating Corporate Safety. My name's Rebecca Wormleighton. I'm the COO and co-founder of Zendelity. Our goal with this series is to bring together industry experts to help businesses rethink their operating strategies, embrace innovation, and build a strong case for prioritizing safety as an investment. Joining me today is Andrew Soto, one of this year's top 25 under 40 in safety. Andrew, welcome. Can you please take a few moments to introduce yourself and tell us about some of your great accomplishments this year?
Thank you so much, Rebecca. I'm Andrew Soto, a HSE and risk management professional with over 13 years experience in industrial construction and commercial real estate. I was lucky enough this year to win a couple awards. I won OH&S Canada Top 25 Under 40 and BOMA Edmonton's Emerging Leader Award.
Well, that's fantastic. That's super impressive. Not many people can claim that fame, so well done. Good on you. So today, again, thank you, Andrew, for joining us. I really appreciate you taking the time. As discussed, today we're going to be picking your brain, and we want to hear your perspective on what a quality health and safety program looks like, so we can learn from it and learn how we can make our environment safer. So let's start with the primary driver, as with anything in life, always comes down to money. So do you think that it's possible to turn safety into a profit center, or is it destined to always be a cost center?
Great question, Rebecca. I would say generally safety would be considered a cost center over a profit center, although a quality safety program will lead to better production and therefore can generate more profit for the company. The likelihood of a worker returning to work after they get injured actually significantly decreases over time. Approximately 90% of workers return after 6 months, and then the likelihood drops to about 55% after 1 year. And then after 2 years, that plummets to just 5%. So the benefit of having a safety program that retains employees is huge. And that is how we keep good employees in our companies.
Absolutely. And I think, good employees leads to good customer experiences, which also lead to profit. So hopefully one day, if we can figure this out, we'll turn it into a profit center. I got to hope, but I appreciate we got a whiles to go. So let's talk about a quality health and safety program. How do you define it?
Very simply, for me, a quality safety program is one that lets all the people go home to their families at the end of each day. No one wants to go to work in an unsafe environment, and we always do our best to try to keep everybody safe so they can go home to their families at the end of the day.
Absolutely, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. It's this is our loved ones. This is our everything. So we got to understand exactly what's going on and how it's working. So um, let's talk a bit about data. I'm very passionate about data. How is data used in safety today?
Well, one of the ways we can use data is to trend incidents and frequency to determine leading and lagging indicators. Once we get into behavioral safety, then we can really start to determine patterns, figure out why people are doing certain things, and then how to implement controls to keep them safe.
So can we tell me a little bit more about behavioral safety?
Behavioral safety is observations of, well, people doing tasks. So if we're observing a worker doing a task and you notice an action is unsafe, you can have an intervention and then write that down on a behavior-based safety card, if you will. And then once we receive that data, we can start to trend and see what unsafe behaviors are out there, depending on what tasks are being completed. Now, if people don't like wearing safety glasses and that's noticed out in the field, we can start to determine a trend with that. And then we can start to work on that. Did we not get them the best safety glasses possible? Are they fogging up? Are they not working for the individuals? Those kind of things are behavior based safety, and that is what's coming in the future.
So I'd love to dig in on this behavioral based because I find the concept really interesting, Andrew. So I know, segueing a little bit. Um, So that's an interesting concept. So is behavioral-based safety, is it a new thing? And how is that? So are organizations investing in individuals who then that's their job is to go around, or is it supervisors that are kind of monitoring what they're doing and filling out information and then submitting it?
It's actually everybody. Everybody can participate in behavioral based safety. And I started hearing about this about 10 years ago. And when it started for me getting introduced into the work field, and what we would see is, well, people getting hurt for kind of unknown reasons in some circumstances. So we wanted to determine why people are doing things. And that gets into the more psychological aspect of safety as to why people are doing certain things. Are they
Mm-hmm.
taking shortcuts for certain reasons? Is it the path of least resistance? Like, why are people doing certain things? And that's where the behavioral based safety is really interesting because it dives into the psychology of people and why they're actually doing things the way they're doing it. So once we
That's
start exploring the behavioral based safety, it really opens up the world to why people do certain things and why they do it the way they do.
very, very interesting. I I can absolutely see the value. I'd imagine it would be quite well, like, is it a more expensive means of managing safety, or do you think the insights and that visibility that, looking into what are actually people doing and comparing, because in essence, you're comparing that to their operating procedures, right?
In some circumstances, it could be compared to operating procedures. One of my previous employers, they just had paper cards, and basically there was 5 or 6 items on there that was behavioral based stuff, and it was check boxes. So you would go watch somebody work for 5 minutes, see how they're working, check the boxes off, and that certainly could be digitalized in today's current world. And then so you could have instant data on the behavioral safety side. But back in those days, somebody actually had to take it and scan it and then log all the answers to create that digital side of it. But nowadays, with our current technology, it can be right at your fingertips, just that easy. So you can start to trend and see where people are doing things and why they're doing certain things.
And how would you say is it widely adopted at this stage, do you think, or is it still in its infancy from a adoption?
Depends what industry. Honestly, I've seen industrial construction lead the way in terms of new and leading edge stuff. A lot of the other industries are still trying to catch up. So a lot of this behavioral based safety, it's hit and miss when it comes to organizations. It depends how bought in the company is and depends how much money and resources they're willing to put towards something. And
Right.
how willing are they to try new things and,
Yeah.
try different techniques to keep their people safe. So it's quite honestly in the individual company, whether they see value in it or not.
Hmm. Well, I find it fascinating, not surprisingly, when you think of where we are and our pursuit of safety, it's really that behavior based, right? What are people actually doing from an operating procedure perspective, and are they following the right procedures? Because if they're not, the sooner we know, the better we can take corrective action. So interesting, very good. Behavioral based safety is absolutely fascinating, and I can see the value and the opportunity associated with it. So let's talk about what are some of the biggest challenges you see for organizations in really delivering a quality safety program?
I would say one of the biggest challenges is presenting a strong business case to build a strong safety program to begin with. Many companies, when they're first starting, the safety program is a last thought. So they generally won't put resources towards that until the very end. And then sometimes it might not be a lot of resources. Or they will try to pick it up later down the road and again, not have a lot of time or resources to put at that kind of safety program. It's difficult because showing returns in a monetary fashion doesn't appear the same way. These are what's called avoided costs instead of direct profit. And quite often, we need to prove our program is working by showing that people aren't getting hurt. The goal is people go home at the end of the day. So generally, you want to get a good production value overall. Generally speaking, as well, an injury costs about $10,000 per event once you factor in everybody's time to investigate, the cost of rehabilitation of the worker, any lost wages. So if you had even 10 incidents in a year, that could potentially cost the company an extra $100,000. So instead of spending 50,000 on building a safety program, you could be spending 2 times that by having people get injured. So by having a program that keeps people safe, you're automatically saving money. Not to mention, once you get core certified, you can actually receive a 20% return from WCB.
Yes, that is amazing. I didn't realize that, and I think that that is something that I need to learn and explore how we can help, because that will be a great return on investment for customers. So I'd like to need to do a little thinking there, shall we say? So, one final question before we close for today's session is what would you say to those people, and we know they're all out there, who are looking at their safety programs today and saying, you know what, it's good enough, or it won't happen to me?
Well, for those people, I'd say I hope you look good in orange and have enough money to pay up to $1.5 million in fines. I'd also say there are always improvements we can make. I mean, would you still be happy with an iPhone 1, or would you like the latest and greatest to do the best job possible? Yes, you can have a Kia or a Rolls Royce. They both do the same thing, but one will give you the best features as possible, and the other will leave you wanting more.
That's funny. Well said, Andrew. Well said. I'd like to thank you for your time today. I think safety is a topic that we all need to be discussing and continue to discuss. I think there's a lot of lessons learned from this, and again, I'm a passionate person about data, and when I look at the importance of a quality data safety program, and what's required to deliver upon that. Our goal at Zendelity is to provide that data, to make it easy to use that data so you can build the business case, so you can justify the expenses and justify the investment. So with that, I'd like to thank you very much for your time today and sharing your insights with us. And I look forward to our next session, where we'll be talking about due diligence in the organization and looking at occupational health and safety court, and really what are we up against. So thank you, and we'll chat soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rebecca.
Take care.